Good evening, folks, and welcome to Season 4 of the Dark Rose Podcast. For those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Jan Regencia. I am the host of this podcast. Today we have a special guest who is a musically talented man that is gifted with producing. Also, he does what you do, like the drums and all that stuff like that.
I play a lot of instruments.
This is Matt Bippart. Welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate
Of course.
it.
How's everything with you, man?
All is good, bro. All is good. It's been a grind. But, you know, I'm grateful for every day that I get to just keep moving forward, right?
Absolutely. I think we all are. Because I always feel like every day is always something different.
Oh, yeah.
So you always
Right.
you come in waking up trying to figure out, what do I got going on today? And then you just kind of go by the day. And the next thing you know, you're like already growing into like another level every day. And nobody realizes that too.
True.
Yeah. But anyway, so going to the subject at hand, I always start with the theme of who are you? I mean, I already know who you are. We already introduced your name. But tell me more about like what you do. Like, what is your passion? Give me a little details about who you are.
Totally, man. So, so I'm Matt Bippart. I am a singer, songwriter, and producer. So
Musically talented.
Right. So I do a little bit of it all. You know, predominantly I was into really more of the performance aspect, but now I've really gotten into the producer game, and that's a whole package in itself of being able to understand how to use the software and all the tools that come with it efficiently to create like cool product digitally, you know, because now music is in like such a digital world, and it's cool. I mean, we still are always going to record instruments, and we're still going to track stuff, but now music has gotten to a point where we have what's called MIDI, which is called that MIDI stands for Musical Instrument Digital Interface.
Gotcha.
But what it is pretty much is like, say you have what's called a MIDI controller, right? So it could be a piano. You literally have a piano, right? So now what MIDI is it's a certain form of connection that goes from your software to the controller, which would be the piano for in this case.
Right.
And now what the cool thing is now they have all of these plugins and all of these cool tools that create the sounds and tones of instruments, like say a sound of a guitar strum or a piano. And what you can do is you can take that signal and send it through MIDI to be able to play it.
What the hell?
Right? So like you can take like a strum of a guitar and have it send into your controller so you can play the guitar on your piano.
Oh, that's sick.
So it kind of like but now the cool thing is now they have like things that are called wave tables, which are like you can basically take a sine wave, which is just like it could be a hum, it could be like a certain tone, and you can mess around with it, like widen it, shorten it, make it sound however you want. So that's how these artists, like I always use The Weeknd as an example. I don't know if you listen to The Weeknd, but
I love The Weeknd.
I don't know, have you heard his album? It dropped a couple years ago called After Hours.
Yes.
I mean, I would say, aside from Starboy, I mean, it's probably one of his most successful projects. But there's so much cool sound design in there, like with synths and with all these different tones and stuff.
Yeah.
But the way that it's like mixed and it comes together, it's just a work of art, dude. So that's like what I'm getting into of like understanding how to put pieces of sound, whether it's real instruments or not, and putting everything together to make it sound good. Yeah, like sound like art.
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
I like that.
Like that's what makes music today. Like that's what makes music today like a form of art.
I was gonna ask too, since we got into all of that description. I want to know how you got into what is like the origin of how you got into like, you know, producing and hearing all this. Like, tell me like where it began, where it all started from.
Heck yeah, bro. So
yeah, tell me more.
I've been playing. Yeah,
I don't know how you like shit. Where do I start?
No, I know exactly where to start, man. I've been playing drums since 3rd grade. So, me and my mom, we always make this joke together. I love my mom. I get a lot of my music talent from my mom. We make this joke together that because when she was pregnant with me, when I was in her belly, she was a wedding singer.
Oh, really?
She was actually performing. Pretty cool. Obviously, it got to a point where she like had to stop and take care of herself, but
Yeah.
like
Maternity leave.
yeah, exactly. So, but she always makes that joke with me, like, you know, when you were in my belly, the drummer was kicking on that kick drum, and you just picked up the beat, you know, you picked up the pulse, you know what I mean? Like, so now it's like I started getting at it in 3rd grade, and then I would say a couple months into just playing percussion for the band, I was like, this is fun, and I have something special. Like rhythm, like all these kids here are like having a hard time understanding, and they're playing in their practice book. They're on page 3. I'm on like page 20. I'm like way ahead. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna try and expand a little bit. So I went from doing all the beginner percussion stuff, and then I got on the kit, the drum kit.
Yeah.
And I remember I went to one drum lesson with a guy. I was a really gifted drummer. His name was Quincy. And I went in there. It was in Long Valley. It was called School of Rock. And I went in there.
I've heard of that. School of Rock?
I went in there. It's not there anymore, but I went there when I started. But I really didn't feel like lessons were for me. So I chose to teach myself.
That is crazy.
I'm pretty much with drums, I'm self-taught. So that's like the beginning aspect. Drums were the start. So then I was in band all through high school. And in high school, I remember in my junior year, we had this professor, right?
Yeah.
And, or a teacher then. In high school, it wasn't college, a teacher.
Right.
Teacher. He would do this warm-up with the band every morning for band class. And it was this warm-up where the band would play the same pitches, the same notes every time. So imagine this, like hearing the same notes every time, every day for basically that entire year, because it was the same teacher. He was only there for 1 year. But so basically what that did to me was it pretty much ingrained that one note that they started with in my head. So now every time, so someone tells me to hum an F, I know exactly what that note is.
What the note is,
So
right?
now I've gotten to a point through college and everything where I practice so much with that, I can almost, I'm really close, but I can almost do that with every note. So
Just
now
hearing
it's
it.
like, right, so just hearing it. People think, I remember a new voice coach came in my last year of college, and we did a lesson, and he was like, do you have perfect pitch? I don't have perfect pitch. Perfect pitch is like when you are born with it.
Like,
for me, I had to practice so
to
much.
work to it.
I've had to work to it, and now it's like the cool thing with that is like now I hear a melody in my head that I think is catchy that I can go in my studio, and I already know the notes that I got to do, and that's like a
skill.
So that's like a big gift that I got that I'm grateful for. Now I implement that with producing. So now it's like these songs, they, with a lot of songs that are out now, those melodies just came from the dome, and most of them started off with the chorus, and I knew the notes, so I knew the key, and I knew like where to go and everything.
Dude, that's crazy.
And everything just happens organically, you know what I mean? And then the writing, that's a whole nother thing in itself.
That's like a whole other entity that you had to kind of figure yourself out into, right?
Yeah, 100%. And it's really personal to me. That's another cool thing, and we'll get into that, the writing aspect of what I do, of creating music,
Yeah, that's crazy, though. Because it's like, just hearing, like, especially, like, where it came from. Like, you wouldn't even be here if you weren't, if you didn't, like, do the drums. Like, say if you never did the drums, like, it would have been, like, you would have been a different person. Not in a bad way, but you would probably do something different. But because of hearing, like, what's funny too, you mentioned the drums. I actually used to do the drums too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I started, when did I start? 6th grade. I didn't actually go to the School of Rock. It's still around, but you ever heard of Robbie's Music?
Heck yeah, Robbie's Music City, absolutely.
Shout out to my guy John, who's the one that taught me the drums. But I remembered like 6th grade to junior year, that's when I was doing like the drum classes. Even to this day, even when I stopped doing it, I still know the rhythms.
There you go.
So now, like, kind of similar to you, but yours is way more advanced. Like, for me, I just like listening to music. But when I hear like a good beat, like when I hear a good rhythm, I hear the counts. For some reason, I just like kind of feel it. So now when I hear music, like whether it's like your music that you make, or The Weeknd, or like Frank Ocean, or just any type of music, I just for some reason start to feel the beat. So I kind of have like, I kind of feel for you on like, using sound instead of just like kind of like visualizing. You kind of had like the sound to like, all right, I'm gonna hear things and stuff like that. So it was funny too because I also used to be in a band,
Oh,
like an
sick.
actual like rock band for like a couple months, but that was it. We were called.
Cool,
You know what the band name is called? It's
What
called
was it?
Absolute Zero.
Absolute Zero.
Yeah, we were really.
I
Absolute.
like that name.
Yeah, but we really were Absolute Zero. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
like,
man.
yeah,
Hey, you had the courage to get together and start somewhere, right?
Yeah, we the reason why we did that band, it wasn't even anything crazy, but we were just doing it to surprise like the 8th grade class, because at that time we had like an 8th grade, obviously the graduation, but we wanted to surprise people at the end, like, guys, just for the record, like we had something like kind of prepped up, just one song, and I will never forget the song. You probably might know it, maybe not, but it's a song called Animal I Have Become. It is by 3 Days Grace, I believe.
I've heard of 3 Days Grace.
3 Days Grace.
I've
think it's
probably
3
heard
Days
the
Grace.
song
Yeah.
sometime.
Yeah.
But I've heard that band before. Yeah.
Yeah, for some reason at the time, and this is back in like 2008, so that was like the pinnacle of like punk rock,
Yeah,
alternative punk for
right.
some reason. Like that was like in my time, that was like the theme for some reason. But I will never forget like the performance. Like it was actually pretty decent, but I didn't realize. So this is kind of where I wanted to kind of chime in with drums. I didn't realize how important drums were, especially as a band. Like, because the drums, I guess the drums is like the backbone of the band. Because I remember like I'll never forget it. I remembered like I stopped midway, so this is where I kind of messed up. But it looked like it sounded like it ended, but I stopped midway, and then when I stopped, the whole band stopped, and they all looked at me like, "Oh, we're done," and I was like, "Are we?"
Yeah,
I was like, "Are
funny.
we?"
Yeah, I
So-
mean, you're the essential
Oh,
piece
God.
of it, man.
I know, man.
I mean, I had
Can't.
I play drums for my church every whenever they need me, and you know I got there I got there 5 minutes late this morning, or even a little more, maybe 7 or 10, and I got there and they didn't even start yet, and they're like,
Just waiting for
they're
you.
like, we can't start without you. I mean,
It's
but
like-
that's the truth. You
it's the
can't
truth.
start. You can't get the band going without the pulse, the drums.
The
The
drums,
drums
yeah.
are the essential piece, man.
Yeah, like every other instrument that's part of the band is always going to be an important piece for its role.
True.
But for some reason, the drums, literally, I think, really is the whole bass first, and then everything else, because they don't really start without like some sort of beat, and
Absolutely.
that's where we come in. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Sorry, it was like a complete sidetrack,
No,
but I just
dude,
thought of like
that's cool, man.
yeah.
I gotta hear you hit it sometime.
Yeah, I still got my it's on the other side, but I have like the Ludwig drum
Oh,
kits.
sick. Ludwig's nice, man. Ludwig's
Yeah,
good.
but it's been years, man. It's been like a decade since the last time I played, but I still will remember the rhythm. Like I still know
go.
how to utilize the hi-hat, the snare, the double bass, like all that stuff. But anyway, sidetracked into all of that.
Yeah,
So
no,
we're
it's
going
cool,
back
man.
to your origin of like the music world. So you were producing, you use your ears. So your ears is a very, very, like, you utilize that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So now transitioning into the roles of what you're doing now. So you're producing, right? What are like the three things that, you know, like the ingredients that you need to make good music in terms of like sound?
That's
you
a
know?
good question. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, so obviously the main piece is you need to have some form of a direction, right? So
Right.
for me, when it comes to like my producer process is it'll just happen out of the blue sometimes. Like I'll be driving in the car. Actually, a lot of the times it's happened to me while I was at church, and that's kind of it's funny because it might be like God putting it into my head. But like I'll have a melody that comes up in my head, or a chord progression that's like in my head that's like, oh wow, okay, like this is cool. So because I have the really strong relative pitch, I already know, like I'll hear it for a second in my head and I'll know the notes. So I'll like go on my notes on my phone, or I'll voice memo it and I'll just jot it. And then what I'll
you
do
jot it?
is I'll go back to my studio and I'll listen back to it, or I'll look back at my notes and I'll hum it to myself and I'll be like, oh, that's what it was. And then I'll pull up Ableton. I use Ableton. That's my software I use.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people use Pro Tools, and Pro Tools is good for like vocal stuff, but Ableton, if you want to get down to production, it's like it has everything right there.
Gotcha.
So like especially with MIDI. So yeah, I'll pull it up and I'll pull up like my I'll start with my stock stuff, my stock sounds that I have, which is like a basic piano or whatever, and then I'll play the chords, and then as I'm playing them, I'll like in my head I'll start to hear the tone of like the tone that the tone direction of where I want to go. So then usually for me, like I'll know a certain like they call them VSTs. And VSTs are like digital versions of like actual like pianos, organs, synthesizers that are you see like know you see in studios where it's like you have all the pianos in the background, like all those ones that are on the stands in the
like
back.
those big
they're like on the racks. Those like some companies will make digital versions of those so they can be in your computer.
Right?
Dude, I have like over 50 of them that I just I'm still practicing, but I'm almost at a point where like if I hear a tone, I'll know which VST to pull up.
So
like
those
organ or something.
So those digital organs really are like the kind of like the grand base of how you kind of start to know like good sounds.
Yeah, more or less. It's like it kind of gives you a directional feel in terms of like
just
the character of the song, of like
I like that
the character, like the tone, the color of what you're shooting for. Color is more of like a mixing thing, but
right. But trying to get the ball rolling, you have to hear like a specific. Oh, that's really deep.
Exactly, it is really deep. It's really cool, man, and that's why I look up to
cool.
some of these. I look up to some of these producers especially mixing engineers, because they're so good with understanding like character and color in music, because it's like that's such a weird thing. It's like, why do people say those? Like, why do people say color?
And then
but it's like you think of colors, like you think of like
blending
certain, but colors also embrace emotions too. Like when you see certain colors, you think you feel certain ways.
You feel it, yeah.
That's how I feel personally. So it's like now like music kind of is that same aspect where it's like it's colorful in a sense.
Like it's a way of, like you said, it goes back to art.
Yeah,
because
100%.
because when
it's
you
all connected. Dude.
It's all connected. Yeah, that's why with music, even sound, color, like artwork, it needs color. It needs to have like a blend of things to be put and mirrored into like one nice melody or song. You know what I mean? 100%. So it's cool to hear it that way, because it can also be utilized in different ways too. Like for me, like I dance. Obviously, like there's emotions in there. There's like feels for it, and then you just try to feel your body. So for me, like the art of you with the sound is like my art of body movement, because I always try to get that fluidity.
What type of dancing you do?
Hip hop. Like I do like free.
Shoot.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why you don't dance to my stuff.
Oh,
shoot, man!
All right, so after this, I'm gonna do a little freestyle chord. I be expecting to be into music. No, just kidding.
No, for real, bro. I mean, no, that's cool, man. I never knew that going into this pod. I never knew that about you at all.
Really?
No,
oh, dude,
you never told me.
It was so funny because I don't think you were around in Gold's Gym at the time. Maybe like it was like a while ago. And I remember like 2015, 16. I would go into the GGX room. Sorry, guys, if you guys are knowing what we're talking about, it's our Gold's Gym. We both work out at the same gym. There's a room called the GGX room, which is like the dance room or yoga room. Or no, yoga dance room.
Yeah, it's kind of like for classes.
Yeah, for like classes.
Yeah.
Whenever that was open, I would go in and I would just hear my music and I would just freestyle.
Heck yeah.
Like just flow.
Respect.
Yeah, but it's only me with my headphones, so like I could see people like kind of like trying to see you through that little window. At the time, there was never like it used to be not like shaded or anything. It actually was clear, so you could actually see through people or see through the dance room. So there were times where people like saw me, and I forgot who it was, but there was like the one receptionist at the time. She was like, "Yo, like I saw you dancing. Like you had to teach me how to dance." Blah blah blah. And I'm like, "You saw me?" She's like, "Yeah." Like I was like, when I was, I think she was just trying to like check the water, like the cleaner bottles. Yeah. And she like just saw me, and so she was like, "Hey, like you gotta teach me. Like, do you know? Like I want to learn how to crump." And I was like, I mean,
back in the day.
Yeah, like back, like I was like, yeah, I can show you. I mean, I don't really crump like that, but I know like a few simple moves I can show you. She's like, yeah, show me. Well, it never happened, but I noticed like people would just, I guess they would see me like just because it's a big room, it's big windows, and it's like you have to forcefully see me because it's kind of like it's just there.
Right.
And then you just see me just kind of flowing. But
Yeah.
it's completely sidetracked. But going to the music aspect or the art aspect, like I felt that art in dancing, because dancing for me is like, colors is the body motion, the body movement mixed and blend with the music. So if you feel like creativity with your body with the music, it's like, if for some reason I just feel like I'm at peace, and it makes sense.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
And I admire you going into GGX and doing that. I mean, a lot of people don't have the courage to just use that space and practice. I mean, it's a great space to practice. So it's good that you did, and you kind of canceled out everybody externally.
Yeah.
That's not easy for people who are insecure, man. So I applaud you for that.
Hey, listen, we all have insecurity, so that's normal. For me, like, I just don't know what it was. Like, I just felt like this is like my inner peace. Like, I don't care what anyone thinks, as long as I'm flowing my body. And listen, if you come up to me saying, hey, you're really good dancing, like, hey, appreciate that.
Here you go.
It's just, for me, like, it's just something that it keeps me at peace.
Good.
My inner peace, you know what I mean?
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, same thing with music. But going back to it, so art, like, you use the organs as like the color, like the emotions. That's kind of where everything came from. So I guess that's like one of the ingredients, right? I guess continue on, like, if you have any other ones.
So the other ingredient is like, so I'd say structure is another piece. I mean, like, you want to like figure out like where are the high points of the song going to be, and where are the driving parts, and also like parts where you really want the listeners to listen, like, you know what I mean? So, and that ties into like the third ingredient, which the third ingredient is the story. Like, what's the story you're trying to tell? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you're going to have songs that are kind of fit for the culture and don't really tell a story, which is fair. But I'm one of those, I'm a visionary artist, which is like, I try to use my music to always like have it.
I love that.
Have it tell a story, have people relate to it, have people be able to absorb themselves into it, and exit the song and be like, wow, I learned something from this. I received something from this that I've needed, or that I can take and maybe show somebody else, or maybe, use it as a way to improve myself. Because that's what I love doing with music. And there are just some of these writers in this game that are just so, they're so good that they'll pull stuff out of their cranium that's like, it can change thousands of lives and be like,
that's awesome.
It can be like culturally shifting, you know what I mean? Yeah. In a sense.
And that's when we transition to the songwriting aspect, which I actually want to know, do you have any influencers like that kind of, you're inspired to songwrite? Do you have any?
Yeah. Well, we'll get into, if you're cool with it, I mean, we'll get into influencers like in general, because I have influencers in like different fields. So songwriting, songwriting will start,
because it's basically like, now we're going into the part of like, because the three ingredients were obviously the organs, which has all like the different tones. So you kind of start there, right? The structure, for sure, the structure, and the storyline. Story, obviously, it always has the finishing touches, which is the songwriting.
100%.
So, yeah.
So songwriting, I mean, my number one on top for me, just because of his speed, is Juice WRLD. Juice WRLD was one of one. Nobody's ever going to mimic what he did while he was here. His writing ethic was some of the most
spot on,
but some of the most abnormal songwriting skills you'll ever really witness. I mean, he made Lucid Dreams. He made that song so fast, and I mean, I would argue that it's probably the biggest hit record made in the fastest amount of time. I mean, he tracked Lucid Dreams probably in the chorus. He tracked in like 20 minutes.
I would figure that's probably your favorite song.
Probably. From him. Oh no, I got my favorites. But that song, just the fact of how the backstory behind that song, of how fast he wrote it and how deep it is. is just, I truly believe, and as somebody who, I'll openly say I'm a Christian, and I do believe there is a God. I believe that Juice WRLD was sent something from I mean it's for a good cause, so it's
like a purpose.
It's something, it was sent from some type of entity above, that poured this into him, just because it was just such a crazy speed. He did this song in like a couple hours, all the vocal takes and everything.
It's crazy. And
usually it takes artists to make a song of that potential weeks, months to get that song fully tracked and done.
I was gonna say that if I thought about it for hours, that is so fast.
It's like really fast.
That's like That's like, to me, like he already had like something visioned, creative, and he already knew how to execute it to a point where, like, let me just do it in like 8 hours or maybe even more. I don't know. But it's definitely not weeks. It's definitely not months. It's literally hours.
Yeah.
So to me, I think just from that, like, it's like he had like a purpose for that song. Like, he knew, like, the songwriting, he had a vision, and he had, like, I guess memories or something, like, in his experience, like, kind of already immediately. That's another thing too. I feel like the faster this, like, the song gets executed and completed and has like a meaning to it, the more you start to realize how creative Juice WRLD is. Like, just from that song, because he had a vision. He had, like you said, the 3 ingredients. He had the organs already set up in his mind. He had the structure in 15 seconds. Okay, not literally, but you know what I mean. But he had all that. And then the songwriting, I honestly think the songwriting is probably one of the toughest things to do, because, like, you have to make sure it rhymes, it makes sense, it has a story, and it has the viewers or listeners kind of feel it. So to me, just from that song itself, Juice WRLD, top-notch creativity at its finest from that particular song, Lucid Dreams.
Yeah, I mean, Juice WRLD is literally he was literally a walking purpose. I mean, there's like, listen, I don't condone drug use, but there are so many people in this world that struggle with mental health problems, and unfortunately, turn to that stuff, and to try and find that freedom in a sense. You know what I mean? So Juice WRLD is like a walking testament of, you know what I mean? He would, like, really express, like, how he felt mentally, and, I mean, how the drugs made him feel. And unfortunately, a lot of it, like, I don't condone. I mean, look at it. It took his life. So, I don't condone the drug use, but, I mean, I definitely do relate to the pain of how he felt mentally at times. Like, I know, like, and mental health is a whole nother aspect. And the cool thing is that it's really, mental health is, like, really being submerged into music. And it's
you can
making
see it.
It's literally, music is like, music listening is becoming such a therapy for people. So that brings me a lot of joy.
Yeah.
Because, I have a whole story behind mental health. I suffered with anxiety really deeply. And the worst part about it is, like, it was my last year of college, and that was my time to really enjoy the last run and look forward to it, and anxiety came in, like, and it just totally messed everything up, but it's a blessing because I learned so much from it. And back before I had anxiety, I always looked at mental health as always something like, you're gonna get better, you're gonna be fine. But it's like, it's so much deeper than that. And now I've experienced it, and now I can be an advocate. And again, that's why I, like, look up to Juice WRLD so heavily, because the things that he wrote in some of his songs are just, they hit you, like, right in the gut. It's like those feelings, you feel when you're in the midst of the worst parts of your mental health, like, struggle, you felt that way. So it's like he put it on a page and wrote it and recorded it.
Mental illness is actually, like, it's just not easy to overcome. It's something that, like, you have to, figure out ways, The most important thing is you yourself is aware. And I think just being able to hear from you, you were aware of it. And I'm glad that you were able to address it, because a lot of people are not, a lot of people that are going through the mental illness is not realizing it. But for you, music, your family, your faith in Christianity. Those three play a big impact, to be able to handle that type of anxiety. You know what I mean?
True.
Because A, like, obviously you love your family. B, you love, the faith of Christianity. Like, you have a faith, you have a direction. And most importantly, C, like, the passion of music. Because of your passion for music, the love for it, it just allows you to continue your everyday life. And that's the toughest thing. It sounds easy when I'm saying it.
Yeah.
But let's be honest. Everybody that has their own path and direction has to make sure that their emotional and mental stability, holds its ground. So I'm actually glad that you're able to bring up, your anxiety situation, because a lot of people, I know you are probably having that anxiety situations, most of you, you have to figure out ways to overcome it. Well, not overcome it, but like being able to handle it on a daily basis, because it's not easy.
Yeah.
There's a difference, obviously, between lazy and mental illness. Mental illness beyond its own entity. That's just a different story that you're fighting to get through. And you've been fighting it for a long period of time. And here you are, literally sitting with me at this table, being able to converse with me and express that. That, to me, I give you props, bro. I give you props for being able to do that.
Yeah, no, that's really cool, bro. And music is essential for me, and that's a great thing too. Is now like music is like starting to, mental illness is starting to become such a piece of music and songwriting and where it's going in today's industry. Excuse me.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
And it's just amazing to see how music people are starting to use like listening to music and certain styles as like therapy, like for me, like I would like listen to Juice WRLD not to bring myself down with my anxiety, but to know that he went through it and had the ability to like kind of pour himself out, and it inspires me, because now I feel like that's my calling, to like kind of spill out how tough hard was. And this is kind of a nonchalant plug, but anybody that's listening to this or wants to check me out, I have a song called "Stay on Top," and "Stay on Top" is literally the story. It's literally painting into a picture how anxiety felt for me and how I stay on top of it, how I deal with it. And I also have a music video that's on YouTube. Ooh. It's a full music video that was awesome. It was all filmed in a day with an awesome guy. Shout out Austin Hine Productions.
Shout out Austin.
Austin Hine, man, that guy, he goes all over the world. He's filmed over 1,000 music videos, and yeah, man, he's got that red cinema camera.
Golly.
And have you seen the Hobbit by chance?
I actually, you would laugh. I haven't seen it.
No,
I have not seen
that's
it.
okay.
But I know.
I've seen little bits of it, but I haven't watched the whole thing either. But the cool thing is, because I look at it now and I look at the trailer, it was filmed with the same camera that was used
in the Hobbit
for "Stay on Top," the music video.
Oh, for "Stay on Top." Ooh.
The red, man, the red cinema camera. So it's pretty amazing. So yeah, check out the music video. It's really good. It paints a picture of my struggle, but also how it feels when you are in control of it, and how you stay on top of it. Yeah, and how you deal with it. How you move forward with it. Yeah,
that's awesome. And you see, and then we go to like correlating to how you were saying, there's always a story. Like how we talked about the 3 ingredients. That's a prime example of having a story. Your songwriting and the vision, and also your experience, because that plays a big impact, because your experience will allow you to create these type of lyrics, along with the creativity of hearing music and then making the producing sounds. But just having the knowledge and being able to use that knowledge and experience to make it into a song, and it will impact a lot of people, because everybody can relate to the song. You know what I mean? And there's a music video. I have to see it. I haven't seen the music video. I gotta see it.
It's on YouTube, man.
Yeah, I gotta check it out.
Matt Bippart. It's under my profile. Yeah. So check it out. It'll be the first thing that pops up when you type in my name, because it did really well. Got over 10,000 views, which is really, really cool.
Damn. I'm trying to get 10,000 views on my YouTube channel. Jesus Christ.
Oh, you'll get there, bro. Just keep grinding, bro.
I gotta keep executing, bro. That's all that matters. But going to it, I know we completely sidetracked and all that, but I'm very thankful that you were able to bring up that anxiety and being able to have a song for it. You know what I mean? And I was gonna ask that too because who were like the influencers to songwriting? Like, do you have like somebody that that inspired you to write songs, or do you have like a maybe like a producer? Do you have like a producer that you listen to?
Yeah. So Juice WRLD was my writer.
Yeah.
I mean, producing. He's an artist, but now in the game right now, he's killing it as a producer. His name is John Bellion. I am a diehard John Bellion fan. So many people don't even know who that guy is, and that's totally okay. I mean, that's his goal. He doesn't want the spotlight. He just wants to create. But he's from Long Island, New York. I've seen him in concert 5 times. I mean, this guy is a real gifted human being. He started making music like for the public. From what I know of, I started getting into him around 2015, but I think he started publicly posting stuff around 2013.
Oh, so that's
but he has an album. My first album I heard from him is titled "The Human Condition." And oh my goodness! I mean,
art.
He knew where the sound. He knew where pop was going to go 7-8 years before. Like we look ahead of its time. Like we listen to pop music now. He knew the sound years ago, and so many people like don't know who he is. So because he didn't really push. And so many people overlooked him, and now he last Friday Jonas Brothers just released an album, and it's literally called The Album. But
it would be called The Album.
Yeah.
I just remembered. I do remember. I know something came out. There was a song that it was stuck in my head because it was a vibe. I think it was Waffle House.
Yeah,
it was Waffle House,
a song called Waffle House. Yeah, but
I knew it.
But John Bellion produced the entire project.
That's incredible.
Fully produced by him. And Jonas Brothers were obviously the artists, but he did so much of the work behind the scenes. And I mean, listen to The Human Condition and then you listen to Jonas Brothers. I mean, there are a lot more like real instruments and things like that, but like you hear John Bellion through it. It's thick and thin. Like you hear John Bellion's sound through it, and it's amazing because now Jonas Brothers have such a huge platform and such a massive fan base. So now it's now everybody gets to hear John Bellion and how he works. He even got a feature on the last song on the project. Really good. It's called Walls.
Walls.
Really powerful. Really powerful.
I gotta listen to it.
John Bellion is absolutely goated. He's my biggest influence. If I can even have studio time with him, even less than an hour, I would probably gain more than him, more from him than I have in years of just practicing.
Just 30 minutes of him would be enough.
30 minutes of it with him would take me to a whole nother level. Not to try and be like him, but to try and just watch his creative process and derive from it, because he is something different.
I mean, especially when you're doing the whole project for the Jonas Brothers. Yeah. That's a big time name.
He did a few for Justin Bieber as well.
Justin Bieber?
Justin Bieber. He did one for Maroon 5. Have you heard the song by Maroon 5 called Memories?
Yes.
Here's to the ones that we got.
Yeah. He made that?
He wrote that.
No way.
Yes, sir. And he's done some stuff with Miley Cyrus. He's working on an album right now with Tori Kelly.
Oh, Tori Kelly.
So legend. It's phenomenal. I mean, dude, John Bellion, he's the face right now of the industry.
How did you find John Bellingham, right?
John Bellion.
Bellion.
Bellion. John
Bellion. Okay. How did you find John Bellion? Like when you first heard his music or production?
Yeah. So it was. That's so funny because I think it was when I was in my first relationship in high school. Me and my ex were like listening to music together, and we just stumbled across him, and we heard one of his songs. I think it was Guillotine, which is from The Human Condition, and
I gotta listen to it now.
From there I saw I think what got me into him at first. This is before I was really like musically cognizant and really knew that I wanted to make it and get into it. I saw the album artwork, and the artwork is really cool because it looks like a Pixar movie. It's pretty sweet.
I gotta see it.
Yeah, The Human Condition. But I clicked on it because I liked the artwork. But then I started listening to the music, and then I got really into the music, and that's when I was like, I need to see this guy live. Like, I need to see this guy in concert. Because he also has another cool thing with John is on YouTube. He has a lot of videos called The Making of this song. So, like, he has a video called The Making of Guillotine. And it's literally a whole documented process of him making the song.
Holy
so you actually watch him making the stuff. I mean, you see the creative process at hand.
Going live.
Yeah, he has it documented. He's got like it all on documentary for so many of the songs. And it's wild, dude. It's wild watching him be on the beat pad and just go to work and you see him talk his vision through. It's a gift, man. It's a real gift.
That is a gift. That's actually what I like about what he did there. Is the documentary, like the documentary itself.
Yeah.
Because, again, we go back to, people getting overlooked. Without, the artist wouldn't be popping without the production. So for him to show, all right, the artist is the artist. They have the vocals, whatever. But I'm going to show you why we are the important parts for, popular songs. You know what I mean? So I'm going to show you something. Got the pads out, starts kind of doing it. And it'll show you how difficult it is. You know what I mean? Just showing the process step by step. And him just kind of like...
Yeah, you see all the sounds come together. And he like pulls up these sounds without even... I mean, it might be cut off camera, but he pulls all these sounds up without even experimenting. He just knows what sound he wants to put in there. And everything blends together, and then he puts the vocal over top. Oh my gosh. It's a literal like... He makes hit songs. It's crazy. It's wild, and he has it all documented, so it's all on YouTube.
Dude, that is
amazing.
Crazy.
The stuff that he did for himself, at least. I mean,
yeah.
Working with the Jonas Brothers and everything, that was probably an amazing experience for them. Sadly, none of that's documented, but
still, like having at least the video at least being out there, just saying, hey, you guys have to realize how difficult this is.
Yeah,
like,
but this is how I work.
And this is how I work with me.
Yeah.
Hey, and that's also, and this is probably like why he's like your biggest influence, because that's gotten you into the production area. You know what I mean? Yeah. Actually, now that I think about it, because I've heard your songs, it has like a pop, like I think it has like a pop vibe to it.
Yeah.
With a little bit of rap. I think it also kind of, maybe that's probably where that influence too came from, was through him, right?
Yeah.
So, when we go to that aspect, right, with, all those songs that you like created and stuff, like what were like the toughest things that you had to do when you're making songs like that?
Yeah, so with a lot of my stuff that's out now, my main goal I mean, to be real with you, my main goal was to try and make a song that created a lot of traction and kind of because it's catchy and because it's really good. So the challenge was trying to figure out how can I make a chorus for each of these songs that's really catchy, that'll either create a trend or like or just be a song that's really enjoyable to listen to, and it'll get placed a lot on playlists so it could get heard.
I see.
And that worked. A lot of it worked. I mean, my song Can't Make Up My Mind, that song was my first one I put out back last November.
Nice.
And it did really well, bro. It hit over 100,000 streams, which is massive.
That's massive.
Yeah, it got playlisted very heavily.
Holy shit.
Because I targeted... Yeah, that's the thing, too, with music, too. Another piece of it is just proper and effective promotion and how you promote. So, like, with that song, I knew the exact style. I knew the exact audience, the exact artists that sound like me. So I pushed it to, like, playlist curators that place music like that. Gotcha. So I got accepted a lot. So I got on a lot of playlists that have 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 likes.
Smart.
So then all these people are like, oh, who's this guy? Who's Matt Bippart? They hear the song and they're like, oh, wow, I dig this.
Dude, that's crazy.
It's cool, man, because it would get to a point sometimes where I'd look at my analytics and, like, I would get over 1,000 streams in one day. And it's like, holy cow, 1,000 in a day? Like that's amazing.
That's
like that's how you
amazing.
know people are digging this and
Yeah.
that people like this sound. So I try to like, and especially with this stuff I'm working on now, I'm taking a turn. I'm taking a new chapter with my sound. Like I'm trying to mess around more with alternative and pop.
Oh, that's dope.
Because a lot of my
That's dope.
stuff is hip hop that's out now, but the
Yeah.
stuff I'm working on now
Is like a different
at
genre.
home, yeah, it's very alternative. A lot of guitars, a lot of real instruments.
I like that. I like
It's gonna be cool because
Yeah.
people say that, you know what, and it's real. I kind of hear it now, but people said that I use a lot of autotune, and I respect that. I mean, it was the vibe, it was the goal of the song, it was the target to kind of implement that a little bit to give it flavor. It's not because I can't sing. I could sing. So
But-
now with this stuff I'm working on now, I'm singing. Like
You're going straight.
I'm not
vocals.
using any autotune. No,
Yeah.
I'm not using autotune. This is gonna be real raw music.
That'd be sick.
So I think people are gonna be surprised when they hear it when it comes out. It's gonna take time. I'm working a lot more diligently. Like I really want this stuff to be good because another cool thing is through releasing this music over this past year, I've made really cool connections.
Oh yeah.
I was consulted by a big manager for over 6 months.
Nice.
Have you heard of Sean Paul?
Wait, like temperature? Whoa, wait, what?
Temperature Sean Paul, yeah.
Like,
I was
no
consulted by
way.
his manager Steve Urchin for professionally for about 3 months.
Yo.
But the cool thing is, him and I, he is a great dude. Shout out Steve Urchin.
out to Steve
He
Urchin.
really gives me hope. He was very realistic with me with
That's the
how
best.
this industry goes. It's not easy, and that's cool. I know that it's not. I'm ready for the task.
Yeah.
But he gave me a lot of the insight of how difficult it is. He really told me a lot about his story of how he helped push Sean Paul, and he watched Sean Paul rise from Jamaica, and
Yep.
he's literally the face of Jamaica now. He's like the
is.
reggae
Holy shit.
superstar. He's an international music sensation, and Steve Urchin like manages this guy, and so he gave me a lot of cool tips and tools of how to. He taught me a cool thing. He said, first I gotta win this town, then I gotta win this county, then I gotta win North Jersey, then I gotta win this state, then I gotta
by
win this
step.
coast, then I gotta win the half of the state, and then I gotta win the half of the country, then I gotta win the country, and then I gotta win the continent, and then I gotta win the continent, and then I gotta win the world.
Yeah, dude, that's
It's a whole ladder.
yeah.
And it's not easy. I know it's not, because everybody's going for it. Everybody's doing it. People just want to make it. And, you know, really, the only people that are truly going to make it are the people that really let their light shine through and
And they push.
win.
Yeah.
They push, but they also win the eyes of labels. They win the eyes of these bigger people that want to pull them up.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful for Steve. And,
Shout out to Steve, man.
and I'm grateful for his leadership and consultations, because he taught me so much. And I'm
Respect.
so excited for the future to just keep pushing with this stuff.
I'm excited, bro. I'm excited for you because especially now, like you have, you know, like a mentor, a guy that will.
Yeah.
That's the thing too. Like when you have someone that's gonna be real with you and like, hey, I see something in you, but I'm gonna let you know it's not gonna be easy, but you can get there. It's not gonna be like a 1 day thing and you're gonna be famous. No, you gotta go through like hiatuses in order for you to get there. Get yourself, like you said, start from winning the town, winning the county, winning the region of Northwest Jersey, North Jersey, the state of Jersey.
Yep.
Just constant, you know what I mean? But he sees something in you that you keep executing and you keep pushing and you're willing to make, you know, adjustments. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good reason why he wanted you. Like he wanted you to, hey, I see something in you, but just letting you know, like, it's going to be a roller coaster ride, but I think you can get to the top just like Sean Paul. You know what I mean? And Sean Paul's a big name. That's the way when you said...
Massive, yeah.
Yeah, when you said Sean Paul, I'm like, wait a minute. Sean Paul, like, I just remember Temperature back in, like, 06. Like,
yeah, and he's still kicking it.
Still
and
kicking
Sean
it.
Paul's
shit.
51, and he's still going.
He's 51 now?
51 years old.
Fuck.
And
Goddamn.
he's still making music. He released an album last year called what was it called? Scorcha.
I have to
And
check
he
that out.
had Ty Dolla Sign, Gwen Stefani, all these artists on the project. So it's like he's still big. He's gonna always be the reggae superstar. He claimed it.
He claimed it.
He owns that.
He owned it.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really cool. Like he still gets nominated for Grammys. Another cool thing, real quick. This past Thanksgiving, I actually got to meet with Steve in person, which was really cool.
That's huge.
Got to have dinner with the guy. Amazing.
And dinner?
Yeah, we got to have dinner together, and we hung out at a bar, and I ate something, but sadly I didn't get to meet Sean Paul, but
still
Sean Paul was there because they were celebrating in New York City the 20-year anniversary of Duddy Rock, and that's the album with Temperature, the big ones.
The big ones, right?
20 years, man. So he sold out a few shows, which is really cool. But he also got to perform in the Thanksgiving Day Parade. So he was in the parade. Steve, he was pretty much, we got to sit down together. He was like, it was just cool to be able to sit with him. And we talked Grammys because it was Grammy Award season. And it was really we made jokes about it, but I won't get into it. But
you go.
But he also told me just about what it was like being around Sean in the city and being at his shows, and because Steve predominantly works in Jamaica and Sean is like all over the world. He tours like crazy.
Global.
He's all over the world. He goes all over the place, and Steve predominantly just stays at Jamaica. He has a family. He's got kids.
Yeah.
So it's like he's pretty much a dad, so he's got to live like a dad.
He's got to live like a father.
He can't live. Go around with Sean Paul all the time, but he got to be at a few of his shows.
Yeah, he did what he had to do, man.
Right, he did his job. Right,
he witnessed it's like seeing like a fetus grow into like a blossom butterfly, like a caterpillar into a butterfly kind of deal. Because he started from he saw Sean Paul how he was in the beginning. Yeah, and seeing Sean Paul now. And now being able to have him and seeing him do that with Sean Paul, and potentially could be you next, bro.
Let's hope so, man. I just got to keep working really hard. I know that I have it. I know that I have what it takes, but I'm at that point now with the music creating process. Like, I'll tell y'all right here that are watching, you guys aren't ready for what's coming. I'm with this music work I'm working on now. I'm really digging deep. I'm really digging because it's a cool thing that through this experience of creating, you find yourself. So it's like I'm at that point now where I'm really digging deep with the story I want to tell, to be not only just for my listeners, but for me. Yeah. To be able to go back and be like, wow, I went through this whole process of making this stuff, finding myself through it. I want this process to be as organic as possible, really diligent. The music's going to take time to come out, but it's going to be really good. I'm going to make sure it's mixed, mastered. All the aspects are super professional. Let's go, bro. And go from there. It's going to take time, though.
It's going to take time, but you're going to get there.
Patience is key.
Patience is key, man. Patience is key. Again, Sean Paul, it started from the bottom. It took years, and look at him. Yeah. He's already you're going to get there soon. I believe it.
Thank you, bro.
Listen, when you get famous, just don't forget about me. All right? I'm just kidding.
Listen, I'm gonna be around. I'm hoping to have some shows around here.
Yeah, I'm ready.
You come and watch
let me know.
Perform.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll come through, man. I want to hear it. Yeah, because your music is solid.
Performing live is gonna be cool.
I can't wait.
I'm working on some stuff, so it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I can't wait for the surprises. Lastly, before we end the podcast, any advice for people that are new, that are trying to do songwriting or producing, because you have the best of both. Any typical advice for them, especially if they're trying to figure out ways to go about it and try to approach it passionately.
Yeah. Let me as somebody who I went to college for 4 years and studied audio and music production, and I will say right now, forefront, you don't need it. You literally don't. And I love Lebanon Valley College. It was an incredible experience. I'm grateful for the 4 years there. But if you really want to really want to start with your music career and believe that you have something special, start now. Don't think wait. You're going to go to college for 4 years and they're going to teach you everything. You can literally teach yourself. Go on YouTube. YouTube has all tutorials. Literally hit me up like shoot me a message on Instagram. You know, say that you're curious and you want to learn like what it takes to be a good producer. I'm not saying I'm good. I mean, I'm grateful that people think that I'm good, but thank you.
Sorry, we got it.
I believe that I am at a point where I have the essential tools I know the fundamental tools to get you off the ground. So, seriously, hit me up on Instagram. Even if you want to work, like if you want to work and have me produce for you, please shoot me a DM. I'd love to work with anybody that believes they have a cool project, a cool song that they want to also lift off the ground and get somewhere. I'm totally willing to work with you. But yeah, for anybody that truly believes or wants any advice on how to get somewhere, really, to be honest, find what type of music you want to make and just listen to what's popular. Just keep listening to the music that's popular and keep learning from it. Learn new things. Like all I do, to be honest with you, I just go to today's top hits and I just listen to what's popular. I listen to what's on the top, and I take notes.
Why it's even on the top?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I take new things that I hear from it and learn, whether it's like cool effects or cool ways that they mixed, and I jot notes down and I try and implement that stuff to what I make. Obviously, it's important to remain unique and stay unique, but it's also important to learn what these bigwigs are doing and try and take some stuff and jot some notes and implement it into what you do, because you can end up finding stuff that you're like, holy crap, if I didn't listen to this song, I wouldn't have tried this with mine. And now I have this, and this is awesome.
And that's why you're in this situation already, where you got the amount of listeners already on Spotify. Also, make sure I'm going to put the link of his Spotify on the description below, and also his Instagram.
Thank you very much, bro.
Of course. But things that he's doing right now, jotting things down, hearing, all literally from like the passion of loving music. Because, you know, you have to find your ways. He loves doing it, and he's going to continue doing it because it's what he loves doing, you know. And that to me, right off the bat, meaning if you follow what you want to do, go for it. And that's like the most important thing. But Matt, thank you again for coming to the show, man.
And thank you very much.
Of course. And thank you guys for watching the Dark Rose podcast. Stay tuned for episode 20, and season 4 is already in the beginning.
Peace.
Peace.